And we can speak to our security editor, Mark White, now, who's had an eventful time himself. Mark, you're in Tel Aviv. Tell us about your incident and also bring us up to all the latest with what's going on in Gaza.
Yeah, first of all, that rocket attack, I guess, it was in Sderot, where we were reporting from, along with dozens of other members of the media. This is pretty much the closest point to Gaza. It's only a kilometre away to northern Gaza. We were at the end of our day, heading to our vehicle to come back to Tel Aviv when the rocket alert came over the tannoys, and we did what we should do, textbook. We had our body armour and our helmets on, turned tail and headed immediately for the bomb shelter. And the problem is you have seconds to get into that bomb shelter, less than 10 seconds really. And my cameraman Ben Davidge and head of security Lawrence Maher were all okay, by the way, just were pretty shaken up last night. They, being younger and fitter than me, were just a step ahead and just entering the shelter. I was just on the outside of the shelter when this rocket impacted, and it impacted 6 feet away from where I was. Instinctively, when I heard the zoom of the rocket, I started to duck. But I got the blast right on the side of the body. It almost knocked me over. My ears were ringing for quite some time, and then staggered into the shelter there. We want to play you a clip because some of our fellow broadcasters were sort of live at the time, and they were about 100 feet or so away, but you can still clearly hear the rocket. This is what they recorded.
Wow.
Yeah. So you could hear that zoom. That was what sort of instinctively made me duck. And I think what was really kind of sobering from our point of view, after we sort of brushed ourselves down and we came back out to assess what had done, I didn't notice, recorded a little piece before we then skedaddled out of the way. I didn't notice actually all the shrapnel around. It was embedded in all the buildings and pretty much where I was. So how it missed us, I will never know. But someone hopefully was looking after us. We just want to play you, and apologies for being a bit breathless and slightly incoherent, but this is just the moments after we came out of the shelter. Well, where we are in Sderot, we've just come under direct rocket attack just within the last few minutes. You can see the media here because we're here en masse, and it's hit over here towards this nursery. No one is injured as far as we're aware. You can see here at the back of this vehicle, the alarms are sounding in the building there. So just right in at the back of that vehicle, the rocket, some of the debris has impacted the window. But let me just take you around the other side here, because it's this area. We were running into the bomb shelter, which is just here really, and the rocket has impacted just as we were getting into the nursery itself. You can see hopefully through there the small crater in the ground there, as the personnel from the local sort of policing unit deals with that. So the question now, I guess, is really, was this a deliberate targeting of the media? Because the media have been at this location for some time, obviously reporting live on what has happened. So clearly the concern is perhaps the media have been deliberately targeted. So some real concern here in Sderot at what has just happened, a rocket attack coming from northern Gaza in here. We just really had seconds to try to get into shelter and out of the way of this. I think what this gave me was a real sense of what the people of Israel have to go through on a daily basis, with multiple rockets that come in. These sirens sound. Yeah, we make our way fairly briskly to the shelters, but you never really think that actually a rocket's going to come in anywhere near you, but it shows you the risk. They can come very close to you, as they did last night, and it also gives me an appreciation of what the innocent civilians in Gaza are being subjected to as well, because these rockets that come over from Hamas are nothing in comparison to the very powerful missiles and artillery that are being fired from the Israeli side at Hamas positions right in and of course amongst civilian communities. We know they're there, and yesterday with reports that that ambulance was hit by the Israelis. Now the Israelis say that as far as the targeting of that ambulance was concerned, they said they did target an ambulance, but they said it was being used by Hamas terrorists. But from the pictures, it's clear there were civilians in that area as well. It is utterly horrific, as the United Nations said just yesterday, there is no safe area in Gaza at the moment.
It's flying your way. The onslaught in Gaza continues, but a sigh of relief, I guess. The Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah, stopped short of declaring an all-out war in the region yesterday. All options are open to us, he said, but there must be some relief, at least, that for now the front isn't opening up to the north in Lebanon.
Yeah, I mean, it was the usual bellicose speech from Hassan Nasrallah, really taking aim at Israel and America, who effectively said Israel is America's puppet and all blame should lie with America ultimately. But of course he reiterates what they always do, that Israel should be wiped from the face of the earth. He said that they've been engaged in this conflict really since the day after the 7th of October, and that's true. We've seen these missile attacks and these mortar and drone attacks coming over the border from southern Lebanon by the Hezbollah terrorists on a daily basis, well, multiple times a day. And what he did indicate, he didn't say that they're into a full-throated war with Israel, but he certainly indicated an uptick in those attacks, which has got to be very worrying for those in northern Israel, and it will elicit a more significant response from Israel. So there's always the chance of escalation into a wider regional conflict with this.
Later on in the programme, if we may, thanks very much indeed.